Of this celebration today, it is a contest, and it's the 21st year. But before they come, we have something to do before they come. I want to do this now. Amen. It's been 21 years. And this is the result of a vision from the Lord given to a unique and special individual. She's dedicated, she's committed, and she's persistent. She won't stop until the job is done. She'll work on it and she will work on you. But she's a wonderful person. She's a servant at heart. And if you have come to know her, you've come to love her. And we have been blessed with her dynamic leadership for 21 years. Our young people have been blessed by her leadership. From this contest, we have produced lawyers, doctors, teachers, preachers. She's had her hand on all of these wonderful young people who have gone out into the world and done great things. And so today, on this 21st anniversary of this oratorical contest, it is our pleasure and our privilege to extend an honor to Sister Julia Maxine Robinson. Amen. I'm going to ask if she will come now. Dr. Carter, thank you so much. Amen. Now, can we give these? Can you just tell us what they are, because these kids have quite a bit in their hands?
Sure. Each year I bring for the finalists that are here CD set of the speeches and sermons of Dr. Martin Luther King. And I always think that they're doing a great thing in writing a message, giving us a sermon today, each of these kids, and memorizing it. But for them, not just to read Dr. King's words, but to hear his voice is something we can all learn from today and every day. So that's a gift from the State Assembly to you, and congratulations on your good works.
All right, will all of you stand right here? Now, would you please come up here? You, right here. Can you, it's blessed to give, but it's also blessed to receive. All right? All right? From the New York State Senate, we have, I know you have many of these, right? You better have one. All right, okay. But this is in recognition of you, Julia Maxine Robinson, and you are a native of Lewisburg, North Carolina, and you are a long-time resident of New Rochelle, New York. And everybody should know that your parents are the late Deacon William Other Young Sr. and Deaconess Julia P. Young. And they taught their 5 girls and 4 boys and took them to church, Sunday school, and educational and cultural programs. And as an adult, Julia also did these activities with her own children, with her nieces, her nephews, and extended family. And she graduated from high school at the age of 16. Then she attended Shaw University and graduated magna cum laude with a Bachelor of Science degree. And after this, she received her master's degree from Columbia University. And she was a Fulbright scholar. And she studied and toured Europe, where she met Queen Elizabeth. And she worked at the White Plains Hospital for 6 years as the Assistant Director of Food Services, and at New Rochelle Hospital Medical Center for 10 years as Director of Nutritional Care, as well as at the Westchester County Department of Corrections for 20 years as a Director and teacher. And she was the worthy matron of Maydale Chapter, number 18, Prince Hall, amen, Prince Hall Masons for 8 years. And during her tenure in office, she prioritized the needs of the shut-in, sick, homeless, senior citizens, and youth. And her annual stewardship report always included donations given not only to Prince Hall families, but to anyone in need. And as a community activist, her advocacy and charitable acts of kindness occurred not only in New Rochelle, New York, but also throughout the United States. And she is also past president of the F. William Davis Women's Club, Inc., as well as past president of the Northeastern Federation of Women's and Youth Clubs, Inc., and a member of the NAACP, a life member of the NACWC, Inc., and youth affiliates, and she is a former board member of the Westchester and Rockland Diabetic Association. Say it for me. Dietetic. That's a hard word to say. Dietetic Association. And former volunteer at her church, volunteer for Sound Shore Medical Center, as well as a long-time member of the Shiloh Baptist Church, for which she has served as Sunday Robinson Sr. and is the proud mother of 2 children, Hubert Maurice Jr. and Tracy E. Robinson. We honor you today. Let's give it up for her. A similar proclamation comes from the New York State Assembly and is signed Amy Paulin and Steve Otis, Assembly members. These are for you today. Amen. Everybody needs to know who you are. Amen. These young people need to know everything God has allowed you to do. They didn't know you went to Shaw University. They didn't know you went to Columbia University. They didn't know you were a Fulbright scholar.
Let me just say one thing. To God be glory. Teaching of my parents that has brought me into the Martin Luther King Oratorical. I went home in North Carolina, where I'm from. They were celebrating the Emancipation Proclamation every first day in my hometown. So when Dr. King passed, my daddy took 2 rabbis, 2 priests, and 4 ministers, pastors of the different churches. And they went to Raleigh to the Congress and made their appeal. And from this day forward, now I'm talking about 49 years ago in North Carolina, at the Franklin County, Wake County, they celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King holiday. No more Emancipation Proclamation.
All right. This is presented.
I brought it to my church. I said, they can do it, we can do it. And I want to thank all of my students who have participated. I taught all along the years. And I want to thank all of you for taking your time to be a part of this celebration. We could not have done it without you. And to be sincere, as my daddy said, all that we do in life belongs to God. Thank you so very much.
Amen. So, in honor and appreciation of your following the example of Dr. King and becoming a drum major for justice, thank you for 21 years of the Martin Luther King Jr. Oratorical Contest. And the quote says, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter." Martin Luther King Jr. said that. And I present this to you on behalf of Shiloh Baptist Church. God bless you, Sister Robinson.
Let me thank Shiloh Baptist Church and the officers and members. I sincerely appreciate this, but you know, I'm not one of these persons not to be in the line. I told Pastor not to do it, but he did it on his own. Rock and roll. But I said, Pastor, I don't like this. He went on anyway.
But I like you. God bless you. You're welcome. All right, young people. At this time, we're going to see a special video. We're going to see a special video regarding Dr. King, and then our young people will come and give their oratorical addresses. The contest will begin. I just want to give them time to get their speeches in their minds and their hearts. And we'll have a video now, and our young people will come with our contest.
45 years ago tonight, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated on a motel balcony in Memphis. A previously unpublished Life magazine photo shows his open briefcase as he left it in his motel room that day. So many people were forever changed by that visit to Memphis. He was there, after all, to support striking sanitation workers. Tonight, Ann Curry has the story of two who were there.
Memphis, the spring of 1968. 1,300 sanitation workers on strike against unsafe working conditions. The Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. standing with them.
Memphis has gotten by for a long time with numerous injustices where black people are concerned.
King's own advisors urged him to skip Memphis, fearing violence, and there was. Alvin Turner, now 79, was there.
And he took that little blue and popped me right there.
Cleo Smith, 70, was too.
He was getting beaten, fire extinguishers turned on him.
Turner says the job paid just 70 cents an hour, but that wasn't the worst of it.
I had been treated like a boy for so long. Boy, get over and do that. I was proud to wear that sign. I'm a man.
The message was, I'm nobody's boy.
I'm nobody's boy.
I'm a man.
I'm a man.
A man thinking about his children.
I had to fight to try to make a better community for those little girls.
They faced overwhelming odds.
There was a little still voice and he kept saying, hold on, it was going to get better.
They were both here when Dr. King gave his last speech.
I've been to the mountaintop.
And he went on to say that I might not get there with you.
I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
The next day, Dr. King was killed. Martin Luther King III, on the balcony where his father died, remembers coming to Memphis with his mother.
Emotionally, it's challenging because, again, I was 10 years old.
Days later, the strike was settled in the sanitation workers' favor. You're still working as a sanitation
Still working, yeah. And enjoying every minute of it.
Alvin Turner, now retired, still has his scar.
Each once in a while, I feel it, and then I look at my kids, I feel that it will work.
His 4 children, now grown, all college educated, his dream fulfilled. Ann Curry, NBC News, Memphis.
At this time, we're calling for the first group, ages 8 to 10 of this contest. They will come now and share their presentations. Please give them another great big hand, everyone. The rules of this contest are you clap before the young people come as a group, and you don't clap after any individual speaks, but you clap after the whole group has come to share.
to Pastor Heads, Pulpit Associates, Chairperson Sister Julia M. Robinson, Superintendent Brother Barry Stallworth, Honorable Judges, officers and members of Sensational Shiloh Baptist Church, my worthy opponents, to our parents, grandparents, sisters, brothers, visitors, and friends, good morning. The topic of the 21st Oratorical is the life and legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. My speech title is Stand Up, Speak Up, and Speak Out. My name is Layla Adams, and today I come to say people need to stand up, speak up, and speak out. Every day, Americans like you and me are arrested for no reason, all because others are afraid to open their mouths and speak up for one another. People see blacks being harassed and all they do is stand back and watch. I say, don't stand back and watch. Instead, speak up for each other. A 31-year-old man named Colin Kaepernick was once the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, but that's not all. He also made his voice heard. In March 2017, Kaepernick spoke out by kneeling during the national anthem. He did it to stand up for black people and to speak out against injustice. Kaepernick's words of inspiration are, believe in something even if it means sacrificing everything. Kaepernick refused to sit on the sidelines. Instead, he stood up, spoke up, and spoke out. In the 2018 film, The Hate U Give, a high school student named Star saw her best friend get shot and killed by a police officer. Star was scared, but she didn't let that stop her. Star decided to speak up at a rally to get justice for her friend. Star stood up, spoke up, and spoke out. Finally, my friends, I leave you with this. There is a star in all of us, a light that we should not hide. We all need to open our mouths for justice. We all need to let our light shine. We all need to stand up. We all need to speak up. And we all need to speak out.
You're not supposed to do that. Now, if Sister Robinson was talking, she would say, did you learn? Can't follow the instructions. All right, you all. The next person is
Pastor Hits, Pulpit Associates, Chairperson Sister Julie M. Robinson, Superintendent Brother Barry Stallworth, Honorable Judges, officers and members of Sensational Shiloh Baptist Church, my worthy opponents, to our parents, grandparents, sisters, brothers, visitors, and friends, good morning. Good morning. The theme for this 21st Oratorical is the life and legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. My speech title is Stand Up, Speak Up, and Speak Out. My name is Jeremiah Terrain. I am an 8-year-old African-American boy who is afraid to stand up, or speak out when the topic of injustice is brought up. In the last year, I have witnessed Colin Kaepernick be talked about, judged, and made fun of for trying to stand up for justice. In 2016, Colin Kaepernick decided, after witnessing many cases of gun violence towards black men and women, to kneel down on one knee during the U.S. national anthem. Colin believed this was a nonviolent and peaceful way to stand up or speak out against injustice towards African Americans. Colin ruffled so many feathers when doing this. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, said maybe he should find a country that works better for him. Colin never expressed the hate, anger, or racism he received. So I am confused. If African Americans are using peaceful methods such as kneeling, walking, singing, and praying to help bring change to the world, are we really the problem? What are we doing wrong? How can we work together? Did you all know that Colin Kaepernick has a tattoo that says, "To God be the glory"? Colin believes his faith has brought him this far. We must all continue to have faith in God and be steadfast. My parents tell me all the time, giving up is not an option. How will you stand up? How will you speak up? And how will you speak out? Just do it. Take a knee.
When you clap, you make them nervous. Don't let them finish. No clapping.
Pastor Hess, Pulpit Associates, Chairperson Sister Julianne Robinson, Superintendent Brother Barry Stover, Honorable Judges, to the officers and members of Sensational Shallow Baptist Church, my worthy opponents, to my parents, grandparents, my sisters and brothers, visitors and friends, good morning. Good morning. The theme for the 21st Oratorical is the life and legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. My speech title is Stand Up for Justice. If a man has not discovered something that he is willing to die for, then he isn't fit to live. If you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. On January 25th, 1929, a great man was born. A man who would eventually give his own life to fight for the lives of others, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. His name was actually Michael before his father changed his and his son's names to Martin, because his father was inspired by a Protestant Reformation leader named Martin Luther. When Martin was 12, he jumped out of a second-story window in a suicide attempt after the death of his grandma. But God had other plans beyond Martin. He spared his life so he could carry out his destiny. Dr. King skipped the 9th and 12th grades and began Morehouse College in 1944 at the young age of 15 years old. He earned his bachelor's degree in sociology by the age of 19. As a graduate of a historical black college, graduate Martin Luther King Jr. became an ordained minister. He wanted equality for all. He was inspired to do nonviolent protests by a man named Mahatma Gandhi. In his first really big civil rights movement, Rosa Parks, she was arrested by a cop because she refused to give her seat to a white man. Dr. King helped organize the Montgomery bus boycott, which helped end segregation. In 1963, Dr. King gave his iconic I Have a Dream speech on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. Times were tough. As an activist, Dr. King was involved in many protests and was arrested 29 times. Even though in 1964 he was the youngest person to receive the Nobel Peace Prize at 35 years old, he compelled the U.S. government to help pass the Civil Rights Act into law. Dr. King was assassinated at the age of 39 by an unimportant man in Memphis, Tennessee. His name is on more than 700 buildings and streets and has schools named after him. He is also recognized with the national holiday that we celebrate and honor every year. Although he was only alive for a really short time, Dr. King made a tremendous impact on the world that will last forever.
Pastor Hens, Pulpit Associates, Chairperson Sister Julia M. Robinson, Superintendent Brother Barry Stallworth, Honorable Judges, officers and members of Sensational Shiloh Baptist Church, to my worthy opponents, to our parents and grandparents, to my brothers and sisters, visitors and friends, good morning. Good morning. The theme for the 21st Oratorical is the life and legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The title of my spoken word poem is Stand Up, Speak Up, and Speak Out. I refuse to accept the view that mankind is so tragically bound to the starless midnight of racism and war that the bright daybreak of peace and brotherhood can never become a reality. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I cannot throw away my shot. I cannot throw away my shot. I can be just like those before me, stand up and speak up for justice. I am not throwing away my shot. Decades ago, remarkable people lived with the expectation that their mission would outlive their existence on this earth, for there should be no other incentive for us to carry on and rise up in their place. They wouldn't have expected to be a thought in the back of one's mind, or only as a short story to be told. They wanted their hopes and their dreams, which they so tirelessly fought for, to cross the threshold of hate, violence, oppression, injustice, and bias. We still have a ways to go to live up to their legacies, while we have been idly, mindlessly, letting words and actions fly under the radar and over our heads. We can never settle. We must strive to see a world where equality thrives. It is my hope that it'll exist in a time when I am still alive. And lest we forget, let me have the honor of saying, we all have a role to play. I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. I can be just like those before me, stand up and speak up for justice. I am not throwing away my shot. The common foe has grown accustomed to our tame responses and tries to label our value and importance into something to be cast aside. Every day we have a chance to let them know our stance. We stand together in strength, and as individuals, don't forget, each and every one of us is independent and can descend over any limit. We stand tall with the capacity of our ancestors to persist through constant suppression, transcending past any others in the history books. Beware, for the danger of believing the twisted words and deceiving lies of a crook's unforgiving mouth is one of the worst offenses. It is our job to look out for our fellow man and lend him a helping hand. broaden the mind of the narrow-minded, strengthen the will of the weak-willed. I am only 15, but this cause is older. A united voice shoulders the weight of an adamant boulder. The fire is beginning to smolder. We must kindle this flicker of resolve into a flame. Where there's a will, there's a way. Remember that in every step you take. We have got to take our shot. We must make Martin's dream a reality. Pursue the education that is so rightfully ours. Like Little Rock 9 in Arkansas and Ruby Bridges in Louisiana. We must prevail like Rosa. Speak out like Malcolm. Be agents of guidance and inspiration like Harriet. Defend and honor the truth like Sojourner. Speak eloquently and effectively like Maya Angelou. May they rest in peace. They did not throw away their shot, and neither should we. The importance of voting is often overlooked. It must be understood that when you don't show up, you give up your shot. You do not only fail in representing your own ideals and values, but also those of your community. Are you throwing away your shot? Thank you.
The psychological term is self-regulation.
Pastor Hintz, Pulpit Associates, Chairperson Sister Julia M. Robinson, Superintendent Brother Barry Stallworth, Honorable Judges, officers and members of Shiloh Baptist Church, my worthy opponents, to our parents, grandparents, my sisters and brothers, good morning. The theme for the 21st Oratorical is the life and legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. My poem title is Stand Up for Justice. We need to learn, comprehend, study, absorb the words of wisdom from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Stand up for justice, peace, respect, fairness, righteousness, equitableness, moral rightness, equity, even-handedness, neutrality. Stand up for truth, veracity, sincerity, candor, honesty, accuracy, correctness, validity, factuality, and authenticity. You saw the news, report, announcement, story, article, headline, bulletin, scoop, talk, gossip. A black individual was mistreated. Someone's brother, sister, cousin, daughter, son, mother, father, friend. Ridiculous, right? The same news, different person. The same race, different day. What did you do to help? Protest, complaint, donate, or sit, watch, stare at the repeated cycle? You want change? Stand up for justice. Get involved. Make yourself heard. Stir up the sensitivity pot. Be loud. You want change? See something, say something. Stand up. Speak facts. Act out. Stand up for truth. The truth is, half of you care and half of you don't. How can we move further to justice if half of us are woke, making calls, posters, blogs, Instagrams, websites, GoFunds, meetings, and the other half are slept, indolent, ignorant, unconcerned, disinterested, clueless, oblivious? We're supposed to be taken seriously as people see us like this? No. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Our lives begin to end the day that we become silent about things that matter. Does this matter is the question. Does this matter? Does this matter? Or no, because it doesn't matter to you. Let's help each other out. There was one, and then there were two. It's not easy. It's not simple. There's not just one step to take, but there is strength in numbers. We need to come together. We did it once, we can do it again. We have these events that bring us together. Unity, cooperation, partnership. As a whole, we need to protect our future. Stand up for justice.
Pastor Hanks, Pulpit Associates, Chairperson, Sister Julia M. Robinson, Superintendent, Brother Barry Stallworth, Honorable Judges, to the officers and members of Sensational Shiloh Baptist Church, to my worthy opponents, to our parents, grandparents, sisters, brothers, visitors, and friends, good morning. The theme for this 21st Oratorical is the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. My speech title is Standing for Justice. To stand for justice. What does that mean? To stand for justice. What does that mean to me? Or to you, or to the person next to you? What does that mean? Hi, I'm a proud son of Shiloh, and I feel a great honor to stand before you and give you the speech that I prepared. I stand before you now and ask you, what does it truly mean to stand for justice? Standing for justice can be defined as standing for something that is right and just, for something that you may believe in. But that's just a written definition. What does it mean to you to stand for justice? Maybe we require some examples of justice. I've recently seen a movie called The Hate U Give. Now in this movie, a young black teenage girl witnesses the shooting of her friend right in front of her eyes by a cop. This happened all because the comb that he took out of his car in his hands looked like a gun. Now, is this a good example of justice? I mean, the officer was only doing his job, but was he? The boy should not have taken out the comb and startled the officer. So? The comb looked like a gun. What? These points that are being made make me think that this isn't an example of justice, but injustice. That is what this sounds like. Injustice can be defined as a lack of fairness and justice. That's what that was. That was injustice. Well, the girl, she saw the injustice of what happened to her friend, and she knew she had to fight because he could not. She knew she had to speak because he could not. She knew she had to stand because he could not. And so she decided that she was going to stand up and speak out against the cop who shot her friend so that her friend would have some kind of justice. So now you know that people like her, people
like Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., who spoke out profoundly and fought against the mistreatment of African Americans and other races. Those people are examples of justice. So, I return to my previous question. What does it mean to you to stand for justice? Does it mean that as long as you say you stand for justice, you're allowed to do whatever you want? Does it mean that if you hold a certain amount of power, you're allowed to dictate what is and what isn't justice? Or does it mean that justice and fairness should be fought for so that no one should have to suffer injustice? Because as Martin Luther King Jr. once said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So, to stand for justice, what does that mean to you? Thank you.
Would you give group 3 a great big hand? Group 3. Would you give all of these young people a great big hand? All right. Happy birthday to ya. Come on. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday, Martin. Yeah. Happy birthday, Martin. Yeah. Happy birthday. Everybody say happy. Come on. Oh, yeah. Birthday. We love you, Dr. King. Happy birthday. We love you, Dr. King. Happy birthday. Come on, everybody say it. Come on, say it. Happy. Oh, yeah. Birthday. Thank you for fighting. Happy birthday. Oh, yeah. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Come on, say it. Happy birthday to you. Come on. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Everybody, come on. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Now put your hands together. Let's give it up for these young people. Our judges are going to recess briefly. Amen. Please don't take long. Church is over. Amen. I'm going to take the offering. The sermon has been preached. Amen. We had